Welcome back to Comic Book History. This is episode number 48. Now, in the last episode, I mentioned basically the new war. I mentioned a group of superheroes, which Nova basically, the Richard Rider Nova was known for being part of. Now, I did mention this episode would cover the Sam Alexander Nova, but I figured though it might be a good idea to talk about the New Warriors. People are thinking like some people may have heard of New Warriors because of the recent stuff in the last few years, but who are the New Warriors, you might ask? Yep, that's the name of the team. Now, the team was, I thought this was a creation of Fabian Nicieza. Nope, he had nothing to do with the creation. He wrote the original ongoing series, but he didn't create them. The group was created by Tom DeFalco. Yep, during his long run he did on Thor. Yeah, I read a lot, I read the article. Apparently they pulled a X-Force / X-Force thing. But in my opinion, this is more like something that they did that Len Wein did the previous decade with Wolverine. Had a bunch of new characters pop up at the end of one issue, and the first cover appearance of these characters in the following issue. New Warriors first appeared in Thor number 411. That was the first cameo appearance of the characters. The first full appearance, this is the historical first appearance, was Thor 412. It was during the event's Acts of Vengeance. Yes, if you're curious though, what the heck was Acts of Vengeance? You probably vaguely heard of it because the annuals released last year. Basically, the Acts of Vengeance was simply this. It's a really cool concept. What if all the superheroes villains swapped heroes who they're fighting? And that's a really ingenious idea. Like, in this one, you have Thor fighting the Juggernaut from the X-Men comics. Like, we also have Magneto fought Spider-Man. He fought the Avengers, even though he fought the Avengers before. I think he also fought the Mandarin. That was an interesting idea. Turns out this whole thing was a plot by Loki, of all people. Yes, this is all his idea. The problem with the story is that mostly this took place mainly the pages of Avengers. And it was spread out over the course of tomorrow books in the late 80s. But if you ever get a chance to track down the Acts mentions the original stories, it is really interesting to read. And how the Warriors come with this? Well, they show up in the middle of a fight between Thor and the Juggernaut, where they assist Thor defeating the Juggernaut. And here are the members, right here, from the cover of the first issue of the ongoing series. You have Nemortida, Nova, who's renamed here Kid Nova, Firestar, Speedball, Marboy, they were renamed Justice, and Night Thrasher. Now, I've already talked about Nova in the last episode, but what about the other characters? Nemortida is, in fact, Namor's cousin. More like the daughter of the original Nemortida. She's kind of, in a way, his clone. Yes. She's been commonly associated with New Warriors for years, and she's basically in the way to be there. She also, for some reason, developed attractions to Richard Rider for some reason, and became his on and off again girlfriend throughout the years. Firestar is a character who is, from what I can tell, a Chris Claremont character. I think number T was a creation of Roy Thomas, yes. But in the case of Firestar, she is a character who had a whole miniseries prior to this, a 4-issue miniseries written by the ever-awesome Chris Claremont. Though she made first appearance in Kenny X-Men. Yeah, she's a character that didn't really do very much prior to this, but this series she's more known for this one. As in the case of Marboy, this is Vance Astrick. Now, Vance Astrick was also a character from the Guardians of the Galaxy. You are thinking, the Guardians of the Galaxy, you mean Star-Lord, Rocket Raccoon, Groot, that version? Well, they did have a version of Vance Astrick appear in the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, played by Sylvester Stallone. That version is based upon from the original version of the character from the late 60s. This is the present incarnation of the character, who made his debut back in the 70s. Yes, in a story arc, I believe it was written by I think it was either Steve Eichelhart, I'm not sure who wrote the storyline. But it was a storyline involving the Guardians when one of the many times they time traveled to the past, where Vance Astrick made a younger version of himself, and pretty much kind of in the way told him some stuff, and this convention became a superhero. And Mostly put, this has been his general costume, though he did get rid of the mask later on. He got rid of it and just basically did something else with it. And then you have frickin' Speedball. This guy is a creation of Steve Ditko. Yes, Steve Ditko, as in the co-creator of Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. Which, when you read his comic book, I read his comic book, it's actually pretty good. It's pretty much in the way Steve Ditko do another take on Spider-Man in a way, where Speedball got his powers via some scientific accident, and that's been how he got his powers. His costume really hasn't changed very much over the years. There's some slight alterations, though there's some really dumb stuff done with him in the last 14 years. I will get to that. And then you have the leader and financer of the team, Night Thrash, aka Dwayne Taylor. This guy, from what some people describe him as, he's a Batman-esque character because he gets something called Batman. His parents were killed by a mugger. The thing is, Night Thrasher has never been part of the Avengers. Now, this generally is one of his looks he's had over the years. And, yeah, so they assist Thor in defeating him, and eventually, somehow, 1 year later, they got an ongoing series. Now, Tom Falco had nothing to do with this series, though. This is mostly done by Fabian Nicieza, who did the first 53 issues of the series, before out Aaron Sorok, who did pretty much the rest of the book. The book had 75 issues and 4 annuals. They, of course, people join a team like Rage. Yes, Rage was actually part of this team. I'm not kidding about that. Rage, who, you're probably thinking, Rage? Who the heck is Rage? Oh, you mean that character who popped up in the pages of Sam Wilson Captain America? Yeah, he basically first showed up when, let's see if I remember correctly. Oh yeah, he first showed up during Larry Hamill's run for the Avengers. Now these are other people who joined the team after the team first formed. You have Silhouette. It's a woman, and she was pretty much the girlfriend of the guy who succeeded the original Night Thrash. I'll get to him. Then you have Darkhawk. Yes, Darkhawk. He's a 90s character who is a pretty cool character. If you ever get a chance for anybody to get a chance to find his ongoing series, it is damn good. He has some issues where you have Venom and the frickin' Hobgoblin. Yeah, as a matter of fact, the Hobgoblin was actually involved with his origin story if I got his frickin' powers. Yep. Rage, obviously. Hindsight. Then you have Bandit, who is Doyle Taylor. I'll get some more to him. You have Dagger of Cloak and Dagger, Turbo, who there's a couple different Turbos. One is Mickey, the other of course is Michael. You have Powerhouse from Power Pack, who joined during, from what I can tell, looks like he joined during the last year of the team. He joined toward the end of Famous Season's run. Then you have another Speedball named Gearing Gorb, the Scarlet Spider, who actually joined issue 62. Yes, about a year before the comics end. Then you have a guy named Helix and Time Slip. Yep, that's pretty much the characters they had throughout the entirety of the entire original run. Though apparently at the end of the original run they had a couple more people join the team. Slapstick. You're probably thinking, who the heck is Slapstick? That is Slapstick. Yeah, he's a weird character. He's a creation of Len Zemeski. He's a character who did have his own series recently, though mostly I think it was a digital first. I think it was. Yes. Then you have Ultra Girl. Yes, Ultra Girl, who is a creation of Barbara Ketzler and Linda Kirk. Yep. Who, for some reason, also had a thing for Fantastic for some reason. Yes. Now, despite the fact the original volume had 2 writers, it actually, when Famous Season is actually a pretty dang good book. Not a terrible book at all. I mean, yes, it's a product of the 90s, mind you, but it's one comic published by Marvel that was actually really good. Though for some reason, when the season left, for some reason they actually had the book associated with Spider-Man for some reason, and the characters keep interacting with him. Now how the first issue started, how he first came together. I've already explained what happened with Nova. How did Night Thrasher find the other characters? Well, Fantastic tried to join the Avengers. But apparently there was a security system, and the fact that the Avengers didn't have a training facility to train these particular characters. They would 20 years later with Avengers Academy, and of course Fantastic become a teacher there. Yeah, he was offered place on the team, but he was a bit too young to join the roster. Yes, for some reason. Now, this is something that they carried over from Larry Hama's run, where when Rage first showed up, basically, he was trying to prove a point to Captain America. And he didn't actually join the roster until they found out his actual age was actually 16. I mean, if you look at the character, he looks like he's in his freaking 20s. Despite the fact at the time we first joined the Avengers, this big, bulky guy was actually 16. So he joined New Warriors, and he was commonly associated with the characters. More with them than with the Avengers. The second volume was done by Jay Ferber. It's a pretty interesting volume, really short volume. It had issue 0, and it lasted to issue 10. And if I remember, I think this book was drawn by Eric Larson. Yep. And these are the members. You have Agus, Bolt. Yeah, these two along with the other members. Yeah, really short-lived group. And this group actually reformed in the pages of all things, Avengers. Yeah, that's how New Warriors initially reformed. Though they weren't exactly disrespected like they are nowadays. Then, of course, got a ongoing series. Now, fun fact, this series came just after Nova had his brief ongoing series. Which, if anybody gets a chance to track down Nova Volume 3, I highly recommend checking it out. Because it is so good. Eric Larson does a fantastic job with this book. It is sad this book got canceled to 7 issues. Probably due to low sales. Or whatever. That or the fact maybe Eric Larson's contract ran out. I'm not really sure what was the reason for it. And pretty much after that, not much was done with New Warrior for several years. And then, for some reason, Zeb Wells decided to revive the group as a miniseries, where it became a reality show. And the members were basically Night Thrasher, of course, the original one. You had Nova, you had Speedball. Surprisingly, Justice and Firestar were not part of this roster. Yeah, it was a reality-based team. You had Microbe, who for some reason was Night Thrasher's stepson. Yes. And Deborah. Yep. Her. Now, they basically did a reality show. It was a pretty good, it was actually an okay miniseries. It wasn't terrible. And then right after the series ended, something really, really stupid happened. Civil War #1. Where the New Warriors were beating the crap out of frickin' Nitro. Near a school. I'm like, why the heck would they battle Nitro during a frickin' school? I mean, don't they know he can blow himself up? And he does. Now, the thing is, prior to this, Nitro has never known doing this at all. Where he caused this big of explosion. An explosion that killed 600 people, including 60 school children. And apparently, this caused the Superhuman Registration Act. And also, for some strange reason, here's the thing. All New Warriors were killed who were there. Now, Nova was not on the roster of the team at the time, because he was off in space doing something awesome with Annihilation Wave. As in the case of New Warriors, all of them got killed. Number 2 was on the team too, though apparently for some reason, I'm not sure why in the world in mid-2000s they had to do this for the Atlanteans, despite like part of this they depicted looked pretty normal somewhat. Heck, even Martina looked pretty normal. Well, for some reason they changed her skin color to blue, despite the fact that's not her skin color. Her skin color is basically like Caucasian, like her cousin, Namor. For some reason, changed it to blue and gave her like tribal tattoos. I thought that was kind of weird. And yeah, all were all killed. And somehow, someway, Speedball survived. Yeah, they revealed he survived in the pages of Civil War Frontline. Yeah, somehow he got blown away, probably because of his powers. It's possible. And here's the stupid thing. People blame him for the destruction of Sanford. Despite the fact he had nothing to do with that. He may have fought Nitro, but he didn't cause him to blow up. He did that himself. And you know the dumb thing is? And a lot of comic readers know about this. Marvel has never had a storyline where Nitro, the guy who initially started the comic book, who basically started the whole thing with Civil War 1, he has never put on trial for killing the many people. Nope. And here's the dumb thing. Guess who went after him while the superheroes was basically spending a lot of the time beating the crap out of each other? Like, it took frickin' Wolverine to track the guy down, and he caught him, throwing a hand off to the Atlanteans, and then he got moved over to Latveria for some reason. But what happened with Speedball? Well, he became Penance. Yes, he became Penance. Yeah, where he was this dark anti-hero. He even got his own miniseries as the character. I'm like, what the heck is this? It is by far one of the dumbest things that they did with the character. And this was his costume. Like, what the heck is this? The former Speedball wearing spikes? Yeah, this was stupid. Really stupid. Good thing it didn't last too long. Oh no. Yeah, the long this lasted for in comic time? This lasted for 3 years. Yep, 3 years. So, what happened with Speedball became Penance? Yeah, he joined the... he joined the Thunderbolts. Yeah, he joined Thunderbolts because apparently he wanted to be there. For reasons. But then, like, I think it was as like 2008. No, I think it was like 2000. It was like right after Civil War 1 wrapped up. Yes, for some strange reason. Now, the way they assembled the new version, New Warriors, for the fourth volume for the series, which, let's see, who was the writer of that book? Let's see. The writer of that run was Kevin Grosvik. I think this is the same guy. Oh yeah, he basically worked on Young Justice. Yeah, this guy. He worked on this book. He worked on Zombies Mass Destruction, Amber Legend. It's a really good miniseries. Underworld, Rise of the Lycans, and Devil Shard. Yeah, this is the guy who wrote the fourth volume for the New Warriors. Yes. The fourth volume for New Warriors. This was a very odd one, to say the least. Now you're probably thinking, why is this one so odd? Because they had a new Nighthawk, Night Thrasher. Let's see if I can find him here. Let's see. Is Dorland Taylor. Yes, he takes over the Taylor Foundation. That was the group that was financing the New Warriors. Though some of the time, basically, the original Night Thrasher was basically using that money to also find a cure for cancer, which he never did. Also, before I continue, when the original volume was being published, 3 of the members got their own spin-off books, basically. Nova did, obviously, I mentioned in the last video. Night Thrasher had 2 miniseries. You had Night Thrasher for Control, which was basically a 4-issue miniseries, and his brief ongoing series, which was 21 issues. Justice, meanwhile, he got a miniseries. Yep. And there was some odd stuff happened with him. Like the fact that he apparently killed his father. Yep, he killed his father. In self-defense. Though apparently they didn't exactly believe him very well because he's a mutant. And people like mutants very much. Yep. So, that's what happened with him. And also, it was revealed that Firestar was in love with Justice. These two later got engaged. And they tried to get married. Though, I've heard a couple different accounts exactly why they call off a wedding. Like, they were too young. Or, and this is a really dumb thing, I'm not sure who thought this was a good idea. Apparently, because of Firestar's powers, it's apparently prevented her from having children. And this also caused her to get breast cancer. Yeah, it's weird to say the least. And not having Firestar become a parent, this was a dumb idea. I'm not sure who at Marvel thought this was a good idea to do, but somebody did. Yep. But a lot of the stuff I mentioned, that happened the first volume there. But the fourth volume, oh boy. It's like basically Night Thrasher just recruited a bunch of former X-Men. You have Wanderer, Blackwing, Disable, Tempest, Ripcord, Skybolt, Phaser, Longstrike, and Reconnaissance. Now, who were these people? Wanderer was Jubilee. Blackwing was Beak from the Grant Morrison run. Yeah, his wife was here too, Angel. She became Tempest. Now, Disable was Chamber of Generation X. Yeah, he became sort of a rip of Apocalypse for some reason. I'm not really sure why. It's weird. Ripcord. Let's see. Ripcord was Stacy X. Yep. Stacy X. He was a Joe Casey character. Yep. Skybolt is a Grant Morrison character. Yeah, apparently that the writer decided to steal a bunch of Grant Morrison characters for some strange reason. I'm not really sure why. Phaser, there's nothing really for him. Longstrike is another Grant Morrison character. Reconnaissance is known as Wind Dancer from the New Mutant Squad from New X-Men. Yep. It's kind of like what if the X-Men joined the New Warriors? Mostly put a lot of former students of the X-Men. I would say of all these, except for Chamber, all these characters are creations of Grant Morrison. Yes. Now, as for why that he had recruited this team, I'm like, okay, this book was very dark, and how this group came about was the fact that Gauntlet was talking trash about New Warriors, so he was later found, beaten, and had graffitied on him the letters NW, the New Warriors. Yep, and they just did their own thing. They also fought Counterforce. Yes, Counterforce. They were, in fact, another version of New Warriors formed by, of course, well, the thing with Counterforce is that they later became New Warriors after the group disbanded, and then it became the Avengers of Resistance. I'm not kidding about that. They seriously did. Yes, Counterforce. The team itself was comprised of Debris, who actually was alive, Rage, Slapstick, Ultra Girl, who Ultra Girl just developed an attraction to Justice for some reason. The book is led by Justice. Yep. They also basically joined forces with a couple of clones of a character named Michael Von Patrick, aka MVP. And there were 3 clones of his. If you're curious about this character, this guy was a character who died back in issue 1 trying to save Cloud9 of Avengers the Initiative. Yeah, I have no idea why they did this for, but they did. And as of currently, 2 of the clones are dead. Yeah, one got killed by the clone of Thor, Ragnarok. Yep. Now, if I remember reading this volume, this was a very dark volume, and they all got involved with Secret Invasion. They fought Counterforce. The volume ended very weirdly, where the original the current Night Thrasher, the second one, had a sort of obsession back in his mind. Hey, let's go back in time to Civil War and resurrect my dead brother. And nope, they went to an alternate timeline where basically the original Night Thrasher became a jerk and he killed Iron Man. Yeah, this weird alternate timeline story. This is what ended volume 4 for the book. And then mostly put New Warriors, basically their activities was basically confined to Avengers Initiative afterwards. Because the team disbanded, this team disbanded, Justice took name back of New Warriors, and he became leader of the team. He was also leader of the team in the last published volume for the series, which I'll get to. This group was later renamed to Avengers for Resistance because of the Dark Reign stuff. Yep. They were an interesting group. Basically, just fought against basically Norman Osborn a lot of the time. But that's mostly what the group was meant for. And they pretty much became the main characters of the Avengers Initiative series with issue 21. Yeah, they were pretty much main characters for the last, 16 issues of the series. Before and after the Avengers Siege, the group disbanded. Also, they had Gauntlet join the team. Yes, Gauntlet joined the former New Warriors. And Tigra, who was revealed to be pregnant. Yep, because this I thought was really weird. Now the thing is, prior to this, Tiger was in a relationship with Hank Pym, who was not really him. Yes, Tigra was in a relationship with the Skrull duplicate of his. Yes, the guy who replaced him, who had his DNA. And her son William, who's named after her late husband, is apparently, this is revealed in Avengers Academy, this kid is Hank Pym's genetic son. Basically, in a way, this is Hank Pym's biological child. Because there's no Skrull DNA in it. Basically, he's half human, half cat. Because Tiger is a cat lady. Yep. And well, with the New Warriors disbanded, they didn't do very much for a few years. And then, of course, we had Volume 4 basically set up in the pages of Nova Volume 5. Yeah, I think this was Jeff Loeb who basically kind of in the way brought the group back. Though the book itself was basically done by Chris Yost. This was a great book. And I do own the trades for it. Let me go get them. My apologies about that. I also do own the weird miniseries that was when they were a reality show. Now, this here was the last known incarnation of the Warriors, which this book was really good. Now, on the cover of this book, this was pretty much the lineup for this group. You had Justice, Speedball, the Sam Alexander Nova, the Scarlet Spider, who was actually Kane Parker. I will explain in a minute. Hummingbird, Sun Girl, the woman here in the middle, that's an Atlantean. We also had a Inhuman. Yes, the members are basically, name these other characters who joined the team are Water Snake, he was the Inhuman. Actually, that was the woman, she was the Atlantean. You have Hawk Hitchy, who is pretty much, in a way, the Inhuman. This was a really good lineup. And now here's the interesting thing when it comes to these characters. Now this book also came about after the end of the Scarlet Spider series. Yes, Scarlet Spider, which Chris Yost himself wrote the book. That's how the reason why Kane Parker is here. Hummingbird is one of his characters. That's the interesting thing about this book. I would say all but about 4 of these characters are created by Chris Yost. Now, I have nothing against basically creating original characters for a book. Now, the thing is, Hummingbird and Sun Girl, believe it or not, is actually the second Sun Girl. Now, her father is quite interesting. Her father is a D-list Spider-Man villain named Dr. Light. Actually, no, that's how his name is, the Light Master. Yeah. And when villains find out that he's, because here's the thing, Light Master is white. And then Thumb goes, oh yeah, I'm biracial. Okay, interesting. Hummingbird is a Mexican. Nothing against that. Though she herself was a character that was simply created for the Scarlet Spider book, which she later became toward the end of the run. She became pretty much Scarlet Spider's partner, and this was a fantastic partnership. Pretty much she was like his protege in a way. Though the thing is, she's a teenager, and Kane Parker is a guy probably pushing 30. Even he knows not to sleep with her. And I think that Chris Yost, when we read these issues, it seems like he really enjoyed doing this book. Yes. Though this book ran afoul of the high evolutionary stuff. Now, do I have a problem with the fact we have an Human here? That probably was done because of editorial management, because humans had it everywhere. Because of all the Humans push. Okay, that's fine. The character was pretty decent for what he was. The Atlantean, I kind of felt this though that was out of there because this is probably a suggestion to Chris Yost. Hey, add Atlantean to the team because the original team had Atlantean. Yeah. Though this book, now the thing is, this group didn't have, now their base throughout this whole run was the High Evolutionary Mountain. Yes. And basically, initially they try to get help, just as people try to get help from the Avengers, but it's Avengers World. This is, of course, after Infinity, mind you. When they have the Terrigen Mist spread over the entire planet. A plot point that lasted for 4 years. Yes, and the Terrigen Mist apparently mixed with a bit of pollution. Apparently, this was explained in IVX. That apparently this is what causing mutants to die. And one really stupid thing, apparently prevent them having children. Yeah, that was really dumb they did that. Yeah, so basically, at the end of the first arc of the High Evolution Mod got transported in the middle of New York Bay, which caught the attention of the Avengers. And the Avengers is something really captured something really stupid. And this is a common trope for the Avengers I've noticed. If it's not the X-Men or Fantastic Four, they'll just basically just mow them down. For no reason. They apparently never did this with the Avengers, but they did this with the Young Avengers when they started. They've done it with not only this group, they also have done it with the Champions. Where, you're not, like basically because a lot of them are teenagers anyways. But the thing is, 3 of them are actually adults. Yes, Justice, Speedball, and Kane are all adults. Everybody else is a teenager. Justice doesn't like the bullcrap Cap. Cap suggests something really stupid. You want to suggest? He's suggesting for the team the Avengers. And Justice is like, no, that just basically want to spy on us. And he basically throws down his Avengers ID card. Though he does get back later. And eventually, after some convincing, Cap does agree New Warriors are fine. But the thing is, in universe, the New Warriors' name is very negative. Mainly because of Civil War 1. Though I would put the blame on Nitro for that, not frickin' New Warriors. I mean, New Warriors didn't cause the death of 600 people. Oh no, that was frickin', Nitro. And then the book ended the 12 issues. Presumably low sales. Now, I don't think this book ended because of the characters, because I thought they were really good. I think the problem was the High Evolutionary stuff really took up too much of the book. That probably was the reason why, which turned people off in the book. And then, like the event of after what happened in New Warriors Volume 3, something really dumb happened. Because right after this, they were next seen at the start of Spider-Verse, where they were seen apparently were off panel more than wiped the floor with us. All of them except for Kane and Nova to the hospital. Yeah, he said almost to the hospital. And when Kane returned Clone Conspiracy, they're apparently still there. Yeah, there's no explanation for this of why New Warriors are in frickin' hospital. And then, of course, what happened to New Warriors afterwards? Nothing. After the last scene in the hospital, Justice and Speedball Justice is fine. He's part of this stupid Crater program as part of Outlawed. And, oh boy. And then for Outlawed, they announced that the Champions book would come back after previously been canceled. That Miss Marvel and Spider-Man become part of the event for reasons. No idea why. And then something really, really dumb happened. Okay, we bring in a New Warriors book. I have no problem with New Warriors book. But this lineup is really dumb. We have Night Thrash. This, of course, is not the second Night Thrash. Oh no. Don't know what happened to him. Apparently, this is actually the version who popped up in Contest of Champions, who's still around, by the way. There's also Firestar, and Rage is here along with Speedball. Okay, those 4 are fine. But then we have these new characters. Oh boy, let's talk about these stupid characters. And why a lot of people really didn't take to the book. Yes, this particular book, which was, thank God it was canceled, because the thing is, nobody was gonna buy this book because of this stupid lineup. Yes. Now, this book, oh boy, these were its members: Screen Time, Snowflake, Safe Space, B Negative, and Trailblazer. They announced this on my birthday. Now, when I initially saw this book, I'm like, okay, a new Warriors book. And then I saw the new members, like, the way they have this picture, it's like the Marvel artist who did this stupid promotional thing really intentionally shoved the awesome characters to the background in order to have the new characters take the spotlight. Excuse me. Yes. Now, looking at these costumes, now, I don't have a problem with Speedball's new look. That's fine. I don't have a problem with Firestar or Rage. No problem with them. It's the new characters: Snowflake, Safe Space, Trailblazer, B Negative. Like, I get the criticism, because these new characters, these 5 new characters in the cover, are really dumb. Their costumes look atrociously bad. Like, it's like the artist was intentionally trying to rip off frickin' Tron with this look, though at least Night Thrasher's look is fine. Yeah. But these characters, oh boy. If this thing ever saw print, nobody would buy it. Why? Because it seems as though Marvel, whoever the writer was going to be to the book, is that he was intentionally trying to have these characters become the focus of the book over the actual New Warriors. Because of the whole thing. Now, the thing is, there is a theory rolling around that this is associated, these characters are basically part of an extreme SJW agenda. What do I mean by that? Well, force characters on us basically we don't care about, and I'm thinking that, okay, what was wrong with the volume with the previous characters? What was wrong with them? What happened to those characters? Nope. Had to be this stupid group. And thank God Marvel canceled this book, because even they realized that this was a dumb. Somebody at Marvel, I hope it was Sebesky. I'm sure he probably saw this like, yeah, these characters were stupid, so I'm axing this book before it gets published. Yeah, but as far as I can tell, like, I think the official reason why this book was canceled because of the COVID pandemic. But I think that this book was actually canceled due to the negative backlash this book got because of its premise and these stupid characters. You can agree or disagree with me on that, but nobody was going to buy a book featuring these 5 characters. I would not be surprised though if somebody at Marvel really wants to put these characters in the real comic universe. If they do, here's what I hope happens to these characters. I hope they show up in a Punisher comic. I'm sure Punisher must realize these characters are so stupid. I wouldn't be surprised though if that maybe, you'll be really cool, and my friend TV would love this idea. If these characters have one shot, and all these characters got killed off by the Scourge of the Underworld. Because the Scourge of the Underworld was able to kill off unpopular characters, or at least characters not as popular, and since these characters are so hated, I'm not talking about the characters in the background. Oh no, the characters in front center. I hope somebody, if Marvel wants, here's what here's do, just introduce them and then kill these characters off because nobody cares about them. Nobody. Just have the Scourge of the Underworld kill these characters off because no one gives a damn about these 5 new characters. But if there's New Warriors book, if there isn't the one, use this lineup. It's good. Don't use this garbage lineup. Yeah. But if you really want to use the Time Dispatch Night Thrasher, fine. And throw in Speedball, Rage, and Firestar, fine, whatever. No problem with that. But if you're American New Warriors, and here's, like I said, use the character's previous volume. If you want to add in Rage and Firestar, do that. Just do it. Who would just be the good writer for this book? Well, let's see. Who at Marvel basically a good choice? Let's see. Who could write New Warriors and do a good job with it? Chris Shields might be a good idea. Bring him back in their volume. And just ignore this volume right here. Pretend it never happened. Well, because it was never published, so technically this would have been volume 6, but have the actual volume 6 come out and just basically don't use these 5 characters. Or if you're going to have them appear, having it killed in their first appearance, so we don't have to see these stupid characters ever again. That's my hope for that. But yeah, not much else about New Warriors. Ending on a very stupid note with the stupid New Warriors. The one for the version was going to premiere this year. A version that nobody cared for. Yeah. And thank God the book was canceled, because I think someone at Marvel must have realized that, yeah, no one was going to buy this book because of these characters and the direction. And also because it's tied to the most hated storyline this year, Outlawed. Yeah. But yeah, that's particularly it for this particular video. Next one for this series, we'll discuss Sam Alexander, the current Nova. I'll discuss his brief history. It's not very long per se. It's only about just 8 years. Yep. But my next video tonight will be a review for the newest episode of Black Clover. Yep. See you for that soon. Okay. Just next video. Bye.